Okay, still working with our factoring quiz here. I'm going to drop down to questions 7 and question 8 because those are kind of special situations. The rest of these can be done exactly like the first two I did in the previous video. These two and question number 4 are just a tad bit different. Let's start with 7. If I look at question 7, I have a 4y to the third minus a 10y squared. When we took this quiz, we did not learn about differences of two squares. However, 4 is a perfect square, but 10 is not. So I know as of now I'm not dealing with the difference of two squares. I should look at this and say, is there something I can take out of both terms? 4y to the third minus a 10y squared. I would look at that and say, absolutely. I can take out a 2y squared. If I take out a 2 here, I'm left with 2. If I take out a y squared, I'm left with y. If I take out a 2 here, I'm left with 5. If I take out a y squared, I'm not left with anything. Whatever is on the outside stays on the outside, 2y squared. Whatever is in parentheses stays in parentheses, 2y minus 5. The terms inside of parentheses are also not a difference of two squares, and they also do not have any more common factors. I can stop. That's my answer. Don't overthink it. The problem is we get to this point in the school year, and a lot of the students begin to think things are more complicated. And it's harder for us to go back to those simpler concepts because we are thinking too much. Remember, don't try to memorize steps. Don't try to memorize what to do first, second, and third. Instead, just know your rules and learn how to apply them. Let's look at 8. Question 8, I have a 2x to the third minus a 10x squared plus an 8x. I would first look at this and say, there are things I can take out of all three terms. And before I begin factoring, I want to do that. I can take out here, I'll just rewrite this over to give myself a little more room on the left. I can take out a 2x here from all three of those terms. If I take out a 2x here, I'm left with an x squared. If I take out a 2x here, I'm left with a minus 5x. If I take out a 2x here, I'm left with a positive 4. This goes on the outside. Whatever is left over goes in parentheses. I have a 2x times an x squared minus a 5x plus a 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and begin to break down that trinomial. This is an easy one, like the first one we did up the top here. The leading coefficient is 1. When the leading coefficient is 1, you are dealing with the easiest form of factoring a trinomial that you can. You're looking for numbers that multiply together to give you the last term, but add together to give you the second term. In this situation, I'm looking for numbers that are going to multiply together to give me a positive 4, and I'll write that off to the side. Multiply to a positive 4, but add together to give me a negative 5. And the answer there is a negative 4 times a negative 1, because a negative 4 times a negative 1 is going to give me positive 4, and a negative 4 plus a negative 1 is going to give me a negative 5. So I write this as two binomials. X minus 4 times an x minus 1. But I can't stop there because I took out this 2x way at the beginning, right here. And I cannot forget to put that back on my final answer. So my final answer is a 2x times an x minus 4 times an x minus 1. And that, my friends, is factoring.